And welcome back to the vlog. Tony Caravan here. You can see one of my doves there by the pond, soaking up a little bit of sun. He's a little bit braver than usual. Usually at the sight of me they fly away. I don't know why. Unlike pigeons who seem to want to hang around people, those doves, which look like pigeons, are a little bit get spooked easy. I just put down this landscaping fabric today as we hit slow-mo, and pulled out a few more weeds that were underneath the cardboard, if you recall from last. Sorry for those cars passing by. I'm recording this inside in the front room of my house, and it's a Sunday, and I guess everyone's out driving around trying to escape the stir craziness of being inside, or I don't know, maybe in search of antibacterial wipes and toilet paper. I still can't find any liquid soap, Lysol spray, or any of that kind of stuff anywhere. Online it says out of stock or not available online. You go to the stores and you could be the first one in the store, and I've been the first one in the store already when they open, and the shelves have been empty for a month now, month and a half. So I'm assuming that within the next 2 weeks we should be getting back to some semblance of normalcy. I think we would have already been close to it if we wouldn't have had this major cold snap over half of the US, because no matter what you hear, this thing is still just it's an influenza. It's a type of influenza, and the flu season usually ends with the cold weather. But that's for other people to argue about, not me. I've mentioned in the past I'm going to be redoing this little greenhouse that I refer to as the TARDIS. But as you can see when we look inside, it's amazing that these tomato plants, despite the fact that it got down to 28 degrees on many nights this past week, these tomato plants in here are actually surviving, and they have flowered. I've been trying to just shake the flowers a little bit, because tomato plants basically are self-pollinating. I mean, in the sense that when the bee goes in there to grab the pollen, it's unlike, it doesn't need to go from a male to a female, that sort of thing. But you can see these little yellow things, little flowers here, they're all potentially tomatoes. Now whether or not they will be, that's a different story. Stuff closer to the side, the plants there, they look like they're on their way out. And I believe that other plant to the bottom left hand corner right now that's getting out of focus or out of view was a squash plant that the cold it couldn't hack the cold at all. But we'll see what happens with these two tomato plants. We're supposed to, in my area, have next Tuesday it's going to get back down below freezing. But after that we should be pretty much 40 should be the lowest, and within it should be getting to where at nighttime it's high 40s or 50ish, which I usually find it safe enough to plant at that point. Especially if the weather is sunny, if you've got some sunny days. That's one of the reasons I put that black landscape fabric down outside, is to absorb the heat and try to start heating up that soil. That's a little heat mat that I use for seed starters. and I do keep that on at night, but it doesn't generate much heat at all. But I guess it's been enough to keep these plants alive. So I'm not complaining. I'm really surprised that pepper plant on the right and the small one there in the center have survived. Peppers are usually very temperamental. But I guess, I got on a pretty crazy rant last week about this whole absurdity of closing down the entire world and this media generated panic and fear as if this thing's going to last forever, when we cyclically have these kinds of things. Well, every year we have a flu, but every so many years we have a coronavirus. It's nothing new. They say this one is a little more easily transmitted in its early stages, but like with all of these kinds of influenza type of things, it's still the greatest threat is to people with weakened immune systems and the extremely elderly people with respiratory conditions. I managed to clean my fountain in the pond today enough to get it working. You can see it through that white fencing. I think we'll get a closer look at it. I jumped around with the camera. If you look at, you can see there's a cardinal on the brown fence. It's almost in the center top. You see that? And the camera will jump a little bit because I tried to, do a close-up when it decides to jump down closer to the bird feeder there. And it's probably be out of focus, but it's nice. I mean, I've got these doves, several cardinals, occasional blue jay comes in. There's a robin, pretty much lives in the backyard. Tons of these little various finches and these small wild birds of various. I'm no bird watcher. I have a book, but there goes the cardinal down to get some food. But as you can see, things, despite the fact that there was a frost this morning, that over to the left, that oregano is still doing fine, and various onion plants and stinging nettle and kale are all hanging in there. So I just hope they hang in there for a couple more days till we get out of this late spring freeze, which we've had for up in this part for almost the past 2 weeks on and off. It's been every night it's been down in the 30s, but we've had the 20s, which is really, I was worried. There's my apple tree, and it's already got leaves on it, and I was worried that the frost might just destroy that for this year. But again, that's still hanging in there, so I'm hopeful. That robin on the grass to the right of the apple tree almost looks frozen in slow motion, but it's kind of weird. The robins are interesting birds. I never realized that they're a bit on the cruel side. They kind of bully the other birds. They're like the crows. The crows are bullies with most of the other birds will get along with each other. In fact, there was a time last year, if you've seen some of my other videos, where I had a little baby rabbit, a chipmunk, these various birds, all just hanging around the bird feeder area, all getting along with one another. But you take the robin or the crow, and they come in the mix. They just want to take over. I wrote a song about that. It's what was the name of that song? Murder of Crows or something. I don't know. It's one of my beat poetry tracks. I forget the name of it. I've got about 35. I have about 50 tracks. The lyrics listed in my latest book, which is mostly a lyric book with like kind of just a rambling intro. It's available at rockflux.com. But I think there's close to about 36 songs available on to listen to, beat poetry tracks, music. You can listen to on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. I've made some raw YouTube videos of them. Down here I've got some cilantro underneath that first little white or clear plastic thing, and then under the bigger plastic one, that's chard, and there's some little things popping up behind that one that I kind of forget what they are, and I obviously planted way too many seeds. Whatever it is, it's probably either chard or lettuce or something like that. I don't know. Under that burlap that's in the foreground is flowers. I figured I'd put that up higher to attract the bees and pollinators. And this little wooden thing I put here over top of the bed is just a place where I can use if I'm working outside of the garage workshop. It's also at a good level to sit on. It's a place to just set a tool or something you're working with. It's convenient. And I put another one next to the grill for items that would assist you while you were doing some grilling. I've been trying to get some more soil, and like toilet paper and everything else, there seems to be a shortage. Or there was a run on soil, so I was trying to get a shipment delivered this week, and I was unable to do it. It says out of stock or too low of a stock to deliver. It's weird, even though they charge like $79 to deliver. I had a problem with bird seed, which I don't know if I mentioned that last week or not. That it was hard to get bird seed there for a while. Now I finally have. I might have mentioned it in the last video if it was 10 days ago. It took me about 10 days, but I just kept ordering it from like 3 different places, hoping that one of them would get it to me right away, but it ended up none of them got it to me right away. So 10 days later, I ended up with about 4 bags of birdseed. The same was with cat litter. That seems to be, another thing. It's hard to get a lot of stuff right now. It's weird. I'm living on stuff that I fortunately bought back in January and February, because I usually try to keep my pantry somewhat filled with food and basic supplies. But I'm basically out now. It was a really nice day today, though. Very cold temperature-wise. Like I said, I woke up and there was frost on the grass. But sitting back here on my lounge chair, which you've seen in previous videos, it wasn't that windy, so it was like a spring day, when you just were sitting in the sun. You could feel the sun on your face, almost giving you a suntan. I think here's where we do a close-up on I try to get a close-up on Cardinal. I'm using an old iPhone as a camera. I don't really have a professional getup for this. The decent camera that I do have is only a 720. It's a camera that was down in Antarctica and up in the Himalayas and the North Pole. It's like it should be in the Smithsonian. I've got it sitting collecting dust in the house. That has a nice wide angle and a zoom in it, but it's max. You have to record to tape, and it's those little cassettes, little video cassettes. Though I'm able through FireWire to load it into into a program to edit. However, you have to literally play it, in real time. So it's one of the reasons why I've avoided using that camera. In fact, I don't even know if the battery definitely needs a charging, but it's been sitting around for a couple of years. I don't really know. So there's my little yard. I use one of those old-fashioned push mowers, just a hand operated, the wheels turn to spin the cutter blade. No electricity, or gas or anything like that. And that's good enough for that little bit of a yard I have there. If it were up to me, I'd have the whole yard planted with something or other. I'll probably, on the left-hand side here, do what I did last year. I had butternut squash growing there, which kind of overtook a lot of that side. And over in the far right, against the fence, which is kind of looks weird right now, you see the slo-mo of a car going by there. But the fence is usually, I plant a bunch of flowers to bring in the pollinators. So that it takes about a month or two sometimes till that whole area gets filled in and gets very colorful and looks good. But in the bare spot there that we're just getting away from now, I'll probably put a zucchini or something like that in there. In front of that black pole, that outcropping, is a kale plant that is, as they say, it's going to seed or bolting. I thought it was here we go. I guess I have a jump cut here. Let's see if we close in here, zoom in. I was probably an idiot. I didn't delete. I put a cut in here, but I forgot to delete the cut. The whole purpose was to not have it jump. I must have left the cut in. I like the cardinals. For those of you who don't understand birds that well, the red, colorful cardinal is the male, and the female is actually kind of brownish, but has like kind of this fluorescent orange beak. So it's the male that really stands out. I have no idea what I was doing with this camera right now. So yeah, I'm kind of over the the craziness, insanity that's going on right now. There we go. Especially on a day like this, when the sun's out. And I could be outside doing things. I really don't care, about the politicians and the media and all the craziness that's going on. Yeah, as you can see, the camera on this old iPhone is just not good. I was hoping that we would get a better view of the dove and the cardinal feeding there. but they're just blurs. It's too bad. You know, I've been watching a lot of people on YouTube outside of the homesteaders, gardeners, and farming things and all of that sort. You know, and a lot of people who, like me, also, you know, kind of speak their mind about current events, are starting to just get fed up with it, and they've come to the conclusion, like I have a while ago, that, you know, people have taken things to a point of where they're so polarized that they're not willing to you know, to listen to reason, you know, on anything. It's like they're like fanatics, sports fanatics, that, you know, will do something crazy, you know, for their team, type of thing. And it's really sad, you know, when you see that. But like I say, they seem lost, like they're gone. I mean, there's just no way. You can't reason with them. You can't rationalize with them. It's like, I think, you know, it's come out that organization, the World Health Organization, has held back information on this virus, and et cetera, et cetera. So what did they have this past weekend? They had people, just because the president was saying this, that they were looking into what this World Health Organization did, and, you know, to contribute to this. And so the people on the other side decided to have a fundraiser for the World Health Organization. I mean, that's you know, that's like borderline insanity. I mean, it's pretty clear that the World Health Organization is just a bureaucracy. You know, it's like a lot of these UN groups and these NGOs that they take in billions of dollars in donations from governments and people, but years pass by and the so-called issues that they're working on, they never get resolved. You know, you look at like the continent of Africa. You know, it's a lot of these organizations spend billions of dollars, and, you know, and while there are pockets where there's been improvements, the fact is, I mean, Africa is still, you know, in a terrible shape. Terrible shape. And so I get annoyed when I find that people actually support these bureaucrats that, you know, do something for a photo op or PR stunt for their website where they raise funding, but in reality they're not doing much. I cleaned out some leaves and whatnot that were in my little homemade pond today and got this thing to work. I left this out all winter long. I mean, that iced up and everything, but it still worked. But I didn't have to do too much to get it to work. So I was happy with that. Anyway, that about wraps it up. So I hope you're all well. Visit my website, rockflux.com. Thanks for watching. Listen to some songs, get a book, buy a t-shirt, support the site. And I guess I'll be seeing you in the next vlog. Me and the doves and the cardinals and the finches. Take care.